Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday / hump day. So today I am going to talk about the importance of your past. I think that we all are, getting the tendency of trying to get away from our past, which is a good thing, especially if it's negative. But it's also important to reflect. And so I wrote a few things down. So it's important to reflect on your past because you see how far you've come. You've made accomplishments. Oh, geez, excuse me. Hi, Karen. You've made accomplishments. You've made it through. Like, we all have those worst times in our life. We all have those times where we're like, oh, those were the worst days of my life, or that was the worst time of my life. But you made it through because you're watching this. So you can reflect on that and go, wow, I had the skills to make it through that. That's awesome. I used to be, in the situation where I was miserable in a relationship, in a job, in a, different body. And now I'm doing so much better with that. So it's important to recognize how far you've come, even if it's just, that you've been through the worst part of your life, the worst days of your life, grieving or going through a horrible situation or whatever. You've made it this far. You're watching this video. You're still with us. You're doing good. So number 2 is lessons from that contrast. So that's so important. If you are just complaining and reliving and reevaluating and reaffirming all the crap from your past, you're not learning anything from it. I watched a Joe Dispenza interview this morning, and he talks about how you learn to become responsive instead of reactive in situations. So what that means is, that knee-jerk reaction. You get in a car accident and you're mad. You get out yelling at the other driver or whatever. You get to a point where something like that happens and you respond. So you get out of the car and you're like, oh my God, are you okay? I'm so sorry I didn't see you, or you must have been distracted. Like, you just get into those places. We've all, as a driver, if you are a driver in this world, we've all been in those situations where we were like, oh my gosh, if there would have been a car there, that would have been my mistake. Or if they wouldn't have stopped that fast, they would have hit me because I pulled out in front of them and didn't realize it. Like, we've all been in those situations where we were like, my bad, So when something like that happens and it happens to you, the difference between reacting and responding is, are you going to let your ego and your emotions take over, or are you going to let your soul your connection with other people take over and be a responding person in that situation instead of reactive and we all do it. We all, the computer, the internet's slow and we're frustrated, or somebody didn't act the way we thought they should and we're irritated with them, or, we stub our toe in the morning and we let that rule our day. But the trick is to get responsive to that and to learn from those things. I'll give you an example. This happened to me probably 12 or 13 years ago. Hi, Clarissa. I knew that we had lived in our house for several years, and it should probably be done every year. I knew that we needed to pull our stove out and clean behind it because it had been a while, and when you cook and then, things get pushed under there, pieces of dog food, just, dust bunnies, whatever. So I was like, I need to clean behind my stove. And I'd been thinking that for several days. Okay, so I get up in the morning and I make my coffee. And guess what I forget to do? I forget to put the carafe in the coffee maker, and I walk away from it and go do the rest of my morning chores or whatever. And I come back and there's coffee all over the counter, all over the floor, and it had gone down underneath the stove. So guess what I had to do? And so I look, my first response was like, oh my God, But then it was like, wait a minute. I asked for this. I kept asking, I kept putting out there, I need to clean behind that. So those are the lessons. Like, yeah, you have that reaction, but then respond to it and go, oh, okay, from now on, just do it instead of, putting it out there and putting it out there, because the universe will go, okay, we'll let you forget to put the carafe back in the coffee maker, and then you will, and that's just like a little tiny life lesson. There's huge life lessons, but that's what I'm talking about. It can be as simple as the coffee maker, or it can be as huge as a job decision or who you're going to marry or whatever. So that's the number 2, is learning the lessons from that contrast. When those things happen that seem bad, figure out what the lesson is there and what that situation actually created for you. And then the third one is giving back to those who wronged you. So when you look in your past and you look at your current programming is from your parents, it's from your bosses, it's from your spouse, it's from your teachers, it comes from all different places, all different situations, creates your programming. How you think about scenarios that are about to happen, how you think about people, how you think about yourself, just that voice that's always going in your head, like, I can't do that, or I'm probably not good enough, or, mom always said we were all fat in this family, or whatever it is. Give that back. And that's just like, that stuff just comes from your past. But when you realize where it comes from, it's okay to give that back and go, that wasn't mine. That's not who I am. I can give that back to my mom. I can give that back to my grandma. I can give that back to that teacher. I can give that back to my spouse. I can give that back to my boss. Like, that's a reflection on them, not on me. That's not who I am. I'm not fat. I deserve to be happy. I am good enough, whatever it is. Like, give that stuff back to that person. They were just reflecting on how they felt, and they were putting it on you. We all do it. And then number 4 is you can decide if you want to be better or bitter about your past and what has brought to you, which is like, the lessons. So, if you got in a car accident and then you had to get a new car, and even though it might have been a struggle financially, you now have that new car, and you look back and you were like, wow, for a year I was like, I'm so sick of this car, I wish I had a new car. And then you got in that car accident and were forced to get that new car. Do you want to just keep bitching about the car accident, or do you want to be better and be grateful about the car that you were essentially forced to get? But you wanted it, you asked for it. And so because you wanted it and you asked for it, and instead of just appreciating that car that you were currently in and going, I can't wait to get a better car, but I love this car because it's getting me where I'm going. And then those situations are different. If you're just, I hate this car, I can't wait to get a new car, you're putting out there, I hate this car, I don't want anything good to happen about this car, and I want a new car. And then a scenario happens, it breaks down, you get in a wreck, whoever maybe you borrowed the car and they want it back, or whatever the situation is. And I'm just putting that out as an example, but you can decide if you're going to be better or bitter. My family, we started out in Klamath Falls. That's where we started raising our family. We were in what we thought was our forever house. My husband got an opportunity to start his own business with a partner. He went into that business. He was working his full-time job, plus he was going there after hours and working till 9 or 10 o'clock at night. And it came to a spot where that business was making enough money that he was going to get to quit his day job and go to that job full-time. He did that in January, February of 2008. And we all know the crash that happened in 2008. So in that crash, and him not being a good salesperson, but being a good manufacturing person, over the next year and a half, 2 years, that business failed and we weren't able to make our house payment. We ended up going bankrupt. We lost our house. All that stuff happened. And in that, our lesson was, we kept repeating, even if we have to lose the house, we're going to make this business work. Even if we have to go bankrupt, we're going to make this business work. We were putting that out there and it all came back to us. So the lesson there was, don't put that crap out on something that you want to succeed at. But then I had been wanting to move out of the Klamath area for years. And Scott didn't want to because his daughter was there, and was totally understandable. Even though we got in some fights and stuff, I knew it was important to him to stay where his kiddo was. So even though I was frustrated, I eventually just said, you know what? I'm just going to love Klamath. I need to quit being so negative about it. It made me, it raised me. I have so many memories and so many friends and so many connections there. Like, I love Klamath, and I made the best of it. And I just started to love the people and the place. Well, then throughout all of that, he was starting to look for jobs because he was going to have to quit that business because it wasn't going anywhere. And he ended up getting a job up in the Portland area, which is somewhere I would have never, ever wanted to move. And so we moved up here, and it's been the best thing for us. We landed in Vancouver, Washington, which is across the river from Portland, Oregon. It's basically like a huge suburb of Portland. I know some people would argue with that, but it's been great. And there's been the issues with Portland lately, but it really has not affected us at all, other than getting frustrated watching the news. My husband, I don't watch the news, but my husband was like, I started watching the news on Monday. I'm like, don't do that. It's so horrible. Don't start your day with that crap. But we are so grateful now. We are so grateful. Like those contrasting negative things that happen in your past, you'll get to a point where you're so grateful for them because you've learned from them and you've had to move, and it's forced you to put yourself in a different place, either physically or emotionally. You have to move forward. And this has just been the best move for us, for the kids' opportunity. They're 23 and 18 now, but we moved here. It's been 10 years ago in November 7th, which is my mom's birthday. It will be 10 years that we lived up here. And they were 13 and 8 when we moved up here, and they just had amazing opportunities in the education system, in the sports, just in general, just being able to see and experience the world in a different way. Does that mean I don't like Klamath? No, I love Klamath. Every time I go back there, I'm just like, I love it here. I've even considered like, maybe we could move back here, but I don't want to. I like it up here. But it's definitely like, you have to appreciate what you have now in order to move on to a better situation. So you can be better or bitter about what happened to you, and it's your choice. Hi, Valerie. I watched you guys for a little bit this morning. So yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It's important to basically remember your past so you can see how far you've, gotten. And then it's important to decide even now, if you're bitter about something, if you're bitter about how somebody treated you, or you're bitter about a situation that happened to you, or you're bitter about somebody that passed away that you loved and you wish you could have them back, decide to be better about it. The one thing that I watched this morning was Joe Dispenza. I'm just like hooked on him right now. Is he said, people get so upset when somebody passes away, and it's totally understandable because you miss them so much. But if they were here in front of you and they truly loved you, and they truly love you if they've passed away, because in my opinion, they're back to pure positive love. If they were standing in front of you, they would tell you, It's okay to be happy. I want you to be happy. You know, think about that if it was you and you passed away and you saw your loved ones just moping around for years and being depressed because you're gone. No, you'd be like, stop it, be happy, experience this life. That's what you're here for, is to experience it and have fun and enjoy it. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with mourning and being sad and going through that situation, but when you turn that into your personality, you know, you're deciding to be bitter, and you can make that decision to be better. So hi, Michelle. Okay, I'm gonna go. I hope that this has helped you to, you know, make some new decisions about your past and to see how far you've come and to decide to be grateful for what you have currently so you can have better things soon. And if you are on YouTube, please hit the like button, the thumbs up. Please subscribe and hit the bell if you want to see when I'm going on. All you Facebook people, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Thank you, Michelle. Another thing too, if there's anything you ever want me to talk about or you have any questions, please let me know, because it just helps me, because then I have something to talk about, because every day I, you know, just kind of pull something out of the air about what I'm going to talk about. So thanks for the thumbs up. Hi, Texas Val. I'm assuming that was you. Good morning. Yeah, and if you ever want to be coached, what I do is I offer a 1 hour session for free, just to see if we, you know, vibe or whatever you want to call it. And then I charge $30 for an hour session, and we just kind of work through what you want to change, and I give you some tools to do that, and we figure out the best way. You know, some of us are like, we learn by doing, some of us learn by reading, some of us learn by watching. So I just kind of evaluate that kind of organically, and we figure out what would work best for you. So if you ever want to do that, just let me know. On YouTube, you can message me. On Facebook, you can message me, and we can work out the details. So have a great day, everybody, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye. Finish. And stream. Good morning, everyone.